also do outreach. So I don't do Metro Access cards. Theirs is a little bit different, but I do the reduced fare ID cards and I do as groups. Or you can also email it, and I believe that's in the presentation. So if I'm gonna go ahead and start now and let you know that I've been with Metro for 21 years. Um, and still have a few more to give. So that's a little background of me. So the first thing I'm showing is the map for Metro. This is our area for the train, but we go into um, Fairfax, Montgomery County, Prince George's County, but there's a limit. So wherever our bus services are, that's where Metro Access will provide service and 3/4 miles out of that. So that includes Fairfax also because they're one of our transit partners. So if you can go ahead to the next slide. So Metro has a few programs. One is the Reduced Fare Smart Trip ID for people with disabilities. In some locations like Montgomery County, the Metro bus and the ride-on bus is free, as well as in Prince George's County, the bus is free. We also provide senior smart trip cards, and there's a new program called Metro Lift. It's income-based, really SNAP holders and their family members who don't have Metro access, free ride, or the reduced fare or a senior card. Anyone that family member can obtain a Metro Lift Smart Trip card, and they can do it online. Next slide. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the reduced fare program for people with disabilities. So the reduced fare disability ID card, it is a smart trip card, and this card is programmed to let people ride Metro at half the fare. So there's been kind of a change. So for instance, specifically, if you ride Metro bus and then you transfer to the train, that $1.25, no, $1.15 bus ride is now deducted from your train ride and vice versa. If you got on the train and transferred to a Metro bus specifically, then that bus ride is free. You don't pay. So it's beneficial to get this card, especially if you live in Montgomery County, because the Metro bus and both the ride-on bus are free for people who have this card. And this people can also have a PCA, which means that a personal care attendant can travel with this person with the card because some people get PCA cards with this program. If the doctor signs the application, if you just give a Medicare card or the other automatic qualifications, then no, you don't get a PCA card. Okay, so applications are processed at the Transit Accessibility Center. Metro is no longer at 600 Fifth Street. We are now at 655 Virginia Avenue Southwest. It's at the LaFont Plaza exit. If you have a group, like I go to the schools and other locations, and I actually do group ID cards. So if you have a group of 6 or more, you contact me. I will come out and process the ID cards. And you can also do it online for reduced fare only. You can do it online, and Lyft. So you can do those 2 programs online and don't have to come in. It just takes a little bit more time to get the card if you do it that way. Next. So as I was saying, the one with the red border, that's the PCA card. The one on top, it no longer has the black border, but the red border still exists. These are the 2 different types of reduced fare cards. Basically, these cards are good for 5 years. One thing about these cards, and even the Metro Access cards, when you see the expiration date, like you see this one says 9/10/2020, on 9/10/2020, you can have up to $300 on these cards. it is not going to work. You have to renew it. So now with the application process, please put your email address on the application. And then when the cards are about to expire, Metro will send you a notification that they're going to expire. You're only allowed one reduced fare card each, you know, you only allow one. Some people say, can I get a second one just in case? No, you can only get one card per customer. Okay, next. So this is what the application looks like. You can have it approved if you don't have Medicare, or if you're not a veteran 60% or greater, or if you have hearing loss of 70 dB or greater, you automatically qualify. So Medicare, VA 60% or greater, or hearing loss 70 dB or greater automatically qualify for this program. You don't have to go to a doctor. Otherwise, if you don't have that, you do have to get it signed by a medical professional. If if you're if the customer or the person is in school and they have a school psychologist can complete it also. So you don't have to specifically go to a doctor to get this completed. If you do it online, go ahead to the next one. Let me see what the next one says. Next. So I already said this, so you can go to the next one. So um, if you do the ID online, it's not, I didn't put it in there. If you do the ID online, you can, um, it would be mailed to you. But please put in, take a picture. A selfie is fine with a plain background. I get pictures with people sitting in their car. I get pictures of people on vacation with the palm trees in back. Please just send me a picture with a plain white background and a headshot. And if they have to do a selfie, that's fine. We accept selfies. That if you're going to do it online, also you're going to send a government issue ID. School ID is considered government, so they can submit it that way. Um, and also the application. Okay. Once again, these are some of the places that give free rides. Prince George's County, the bus, um, Metro Bus and Ride On Bus in Montgomery County. Right now, Dash is giving everybody a free ride. And once again, the fare from the bus, when you do pay, is deducted when traveling on the Metro Rail or transferring to the Metro Rail and vice versa. Also, with the card, if you do tap it, you have 2 hours of unlimited bus transfer. So if you do tap the card, it's going to take $1.10 off, and it's going to you can do unlimited rides for 2 hours for non-express buses, and you're not going to pay additional charge. Amtrak does accept that card because it lets you know, it lets Amtrak know that you have a disability, and they do give 10% off, okay? So with this card, it does not go on the phone platform, but you can add money online at the fare machines in the station, on the buses, and at the commuter stores. Note that when you do add it on the bus, the fare automatically is deducted from your for your ride. So if you're in Montgomery County, do not add the money on the Metro bus or the ride on bus. In that situation, you do it at the station or online, because if you tap your card to add the money, it's going to automatically deduct $1.15, and you don't want that to happen. Okay, so this keeps you from having to have cash. And if you start an account online, you can actually see what's being used or what's being spent on the card. Next. So Metro has a new program. This is the Metro Lift Reduce Fare program. This is for people on SNAP. If you can go to the next slide. So the same thing with the reduced fare program, but these individuals are on food stamps, so they don't have to have a medical reason. But once again, if you have any of our programs that already give you a discount or a free ride, then you won't qualify for this. But say for instance, I'm a mother, I have 4 kids, and they all on my SNAP benefit. I can take and put myself and all those children that's on that to get a reduced fare card as long as they 5 and above to get the reduced fare card. So you have to be a DC, Maryland, or Virginia resident. And you have to, if you go inside, you present a government ID. If you do it online, you can go to ramada.com/MetroLift and you can apply that way. And whatever smart chip card you physically have, you can put that number in there and it will become a Lyft card that gives you a discount. Um, or you can go to the Transit Accessibility Center. Once again, that's at 655 Virginia Avenue Southwest, which is the LaFont Metro Station. And the 52 bus and the 74 bus, Metro bus come there also. Okay, next. So we're going to talk about Metro Access. So you can go to the next slide. So Metro Access, I want to make, because I don't see the interpreter, I don't want to make sure that she didn't get lost.
Hi, we're switching
I'm
interpreters.
here, we switched. It's Ms. Brown.
Okay, that's fine. Metro Access is a door-to-door paratransit service. So the difference between this card and the yellow reduced fare card that you saw earlier was this one is door-to-door. So that, what do I mean by door-to-door? That it will actually come to your home, pick you up, and take you directly to where you want to go. Whereas the one with the yellow card, which is the reduced fare program, is what we call a fixed route. Fixed route means that it goes to a specific location to pick people up and has an end location, and that's what's a fixed route. The same thing with the train. Our end stations, whether it's from Largo all the way to Springfield, those are considered a fixed route because it goes to specific destinations, unlike Metro Access, which will go from your home to any place within our jurisdiction that we provide the service to. So for Metro Access, it's also different. With this card, you have to have a medical professional, a licensed medical professional complete the application. With the reduced fare program, a school psychologist doesn't have to be licensed and can complete the program and complete the application. So as I was saying before, the service area is in 3/4 miles of any bus or rail station, but that includes like the Fairfax connector. That also includes the ride-on bus because those are our transit partners. So 3/4 allowance is included with their last stop. Okay, so with this one, once again, it's door to door, but you have to make reservations, okay? And you have to do it at least a day before. Next. So these are the Metro Access cards. There's two kind of cards that they give. So the one is, people say a different color. I call it silver and red. That's what I see. I see silver and red card. This one is considered conditional eligible. What does that mean? That means that this person and a personal care attendant, you see the PCA card, can ride on the bus and the rail at no charge. One thing that's important if you do get this card, sometimes you go through accessibility gate, it has two targets, one on top and one on the side. If you have a PCA, you both have to touch the same target. If not, it will charge you a full fare. Another thing is when you have this card, you can't let people jump in front of you. You have to be the smart chip card holder right behind the PCA must be right behind them. If someone jumps in front of you, then that PCA is going to be charged a full fare. Okay. The other card, which is fully eligible, if based on the doctor, based on the assessment, and right now Metro's not doing in-person assessments, they're more kind of like a lottery where they do them. This person is only approved for Metro Access for safety and health reasons. Next. Next. So basically, I kind of just went through what's conditional eligible. These are people demonstrate that they can use fixed routes. And if they encourage it because it's really cost effective, whereas fully eligible, if they just are deemed unsafe to ride the service. Okay, next. So this is what Metro is now giving out to people that are applying for the program. So it's kind of blurry to read, but basically it's saying for new applicants, what you need to do. You need to submit, you can do this online. And as you can see, if you can make it larger, you can see that you can email this, the application for new applicants, the application, um, uh, a government issued ID. They want it in color. But for me, with the reduced fare, I asked you to send a picture. So a nice picture with a plain background. And that makes it even easier and it makes your card look a little bit nicer. So those are the things they need. They need for you to send the application signed by the healthcare provider. Make sure that the healthcare provider completes all of it because if anything is missing, it's going to be rejected. Okay, so make sure that it's fully completed before you submit it. Also, if you do decide to bring it into the office at 655 Virginia Avenue, make sure you have a copy. Keep a copy for your record. And actually, if you bring it in, ask them to stamp the application and then give you a copy. Okay, that way you have it, proof that when you brought it in. So with the application, if you're new, it's 8 pages. Make sure the doctor completes it. Send in, if you're gonna send an email, send an ID color. If you like to, I prefer, but I don't do Metro Access, but I do prefer a headshot. A selfie is fine with a plain background. In the application. Those are the things that's needed. So if you're doing a recertification, it says that you only need to complete Part A, and the doctor has to complete Part B. Certain individuals, certain disabilities don't get the 8-page ones for recertification. Say, for instance, blind, low vision, they have a very short form. So if you call in for the application, and you can call 202-962-2700 and hit #5 to get the application. And you can tell them, and they can also look online, but it'd be quicker if you can say, hey, I'm a research, and then they would know which application is sent to you via mail. Okay. If you do go to the office, it's only open on weekdays, and the hours are from 8 to 4, but they prefer that you get there by 3:50 because they're trying to close up, and so they prefer to get there just a little bit early so they're not rushing you out. Okay. So once you do all of that, once you apply, Metro has 21 business days to turn around for approval of your ID card. If you forget anything, they're going to reject it. They're going to send you a letter saying why they rejected it. And you basically, if it has if the expiration date is far out, they're also not going to accept that. You're going to have to start all the way over. So once you get the doctors to sign this, please submit it. Don't wait because you don't want to go all the way and start the process over. Okay, next. So this is the Transit Accessibility Center. Um, and this is the address and what I just told you, the email, eligibility at Pomada. This is the fax number. You know what? I would really email it versus fax because you need to submit a picture unless you are research or renewal, and you need to send a picture. So I would really, if you knew, just email it. Okay. It was something I just wanted to tell you. It'll come back to my mind. Okay, so next, you can call in to ask for the application. Right now, they're not doing in-person assessments, but they do give that 21 business days that they allow by law to have the turnaround time. You can also appeal if they decide that you don't qualify for Metro Access. And if they feel as though you don't qualify for Metro Access, they may put you in a reduced fare program, but you can appeal any of them, whether it's the reduced fare or Metro Access. If you don't get the service, you can appeal either one. And the information should be on the next page, which is right here. So you would get an appeal packet upon request, and you can call 202-962-1100, hit option 4. That's our ombudsman, or you can email them at adap@wamada.com. I'm going to repeat the phone number, and I'm going to repeat the email. Phone number 202-962-1100, option 4, or email adap@wmata.com. So replacement. These cards are like gold. You don't want to lose them. Say, for instance, the reduced fare is basically a 5-year card. If you lose that card or Metro Access, the unconditional one is the Smart Trip one. That's a 3-year card. The blue card is a 5-year card. So say for instance, you lost any of the Smart Trip card ones. The first time within the expiration date is $10. If you lose it more than one time within that time frame before it expires, that's $25 each time. So if you can get a lanyard, get something to hold it to make sure you don't lose it, because I've seen people that have come in and have already wound up paying say $85. So hold on to that card, okay? If the card is stolen, you have to say on the police report, my smart chip card was stolen. If you just say my wallet is stolen, my management will say, okay, your smart chip may not have been in there. So specifically put in that your smart chip card was stolen. So if the card is a damage, that's different. So the card is the reduced fare card or the Metro Access card is damaged and you tag it and it's just not working, then they will replace it at no fee. But if it's a um, PCA card, that's not true. If it's a PCA card, you don't pay if it's not working either. You only pay for the damage in your smart chip card, not for the PCA, okay? So here's some helpful tips for Metro Access. If you want to find out where's my ride, just like with the Metro bus and other bus systems, you can always find out where that service is located. So here you got where's my ride, and the phone number is 301-562-5360, and you can do option 2. Another one is text only is 301-547-7436. You can do Easy Pay. Easy Pay makes it where you don't have to carry cash. You can start an account with Easy Pay, and when it's time to have a ride, you can pay using your Easy Pay account. Um, it's good to have that because if you go onto the Metro Access, you got to have exact change. So if you're not onto the Easy Pay account, you must have exact change because they do not give change back. So if you don't do Easy Pay, know the amount of your trip and make sure you have that cash. Okay. So you can also do web booking for Metro Access. It's a long URL, but if you have one, I can read it, which is HTTPS well, it's :/ metroaccess.wamada.com / /AUTH sign and register. This way you can book yourself. You can book your trips yourself and you don't have to call the service area to book them for you. I don't know about Tim, so I'm going to skip Tim if you don't mind. So we can go to the next. So Abilities Wide is an additional service that's provided for Metro Access customers. Can you go back for a second? Abilities Wide is another service that's provided for Metro Access customers. But when you take and you sign up for Metro Access, please ask them about Abilities Wide and then they can give you the information. That's basically the cab services that Uber and the other cab services that Metro is providing. You won't always get this, even if you sign up for it. It's based on availability. So you won't always get the Uber or the Lyft or the cabs is based on when it's available. Next. So once again, this is the address. If you have questions about Metro Access, you can call 202-962-2700, option 5. If you haven't gotten your ID card and you're wondering where it's at, you call that number to find out the status. Okay? Any questions?
We actually have a few, so thank you. I want to remind everyone that I will be sending out the slides, so that way you will get a copy of all the slides that are shown tonight. So the first question we have is, what is the possibility of traveling on Metro Access free for individuals with intellectual disabilities? I have 3 clients that have to pay $4.50 for each trip.
There is no free ride for Metro Access services. They're paying $4 and Metro is paying 65. So there is no flight for Metro. That's why if they are able to learn, and Andrew's going to talk about travel training, if they are able to learn how to ride Metro bus and Metro rail, then they can more than likely get that smart trip card from Metro Access that will save them because it's a free ride.
Okay, thank you. The next question is, my son has a blue card with only Metro Access and he needs the other card with Metro and Bus. How can I change this? He is currently in school.
So you can contact Metro. Does he take and ride bus and rail now? Is he doing it independently now?
If Christina can clarify. I'm not too sure.
Okay. Because Metro's just not going to switch it if they do not feel, and the reason why they do that is because based on what the doctor said, if they didn't do an assessment, it's based on what the medical professional said. But if you allow travel training and the travel trainer feels as though this person could ride bus and rail, then the travel trainer will inform Metro, and then they will switch the card over.
Yes, she clarified, yes, he is doing this at school and has to pay for these.
So Metro provides travel training free of charge.
Okay, great.
So Andrew's going to talk about that. I do travel training, but Andrew does also for Metro. So he's going to talk about that part since I'm covering this section.
Okay, great. So the next question, is there additional information available on Abilities Ride?
If you go to our website, wamada.com, and look under Metro Access, you'll find additional information on Abilities Ride.
Okay, great. Does anybody have any other questions before we switch it over to Andrew?
Hold on, I just saw another question come up on the screen about somebody with an expired card.
Said, sorry if spoke already. If had impasse and expired, will they apply again as new app?
So whenever the card expires, you always have to reapply. It doesn't matter. It's not necessarily, you do a new application, but you're not a new applicant. So you have to, and it's based on the law that we have to have this information. We keep files based on the expiration. So when the card is expired, we already shredded those files. So we have to get it redone. So if the card is expired, you have to start again. But if you have the Smart Trip card number, you can take and put it on the paper. Also, senior moment. If it's expired within 45 days, you can get Metro Access service only. So they will extend the Metro Access service, but if they have the Smart Chip card, that is once our cards are expired, they don't work. So they will only get Metro Access until you got the application resubmitted.
Okay, thanks for the clarification. One last question. My daughter is at school now and she's unable to ride without someone with her. What would be the best option?
The Metro Access would be the best option if she's unable to. Or if you do the reduced fare, you can always, and you in Montgomery County, if you're only catching a bus, it's still a free ride. So you can get the reduced fare ID card with the PCA. And if she's in high school or college, you can ask the school psychiatrist or well, not psychiatrist. You can ask the school, not a social worker,
Counselor?
senior moment. You can ask the school psychologist if they would sign it and put down that she needs a PCA. So then that way, when she gets the ID card, she gets both the reduced fare and a PCA. So they know that she won't travel by herself. And
Okay,
you both ride free. But don't forget either cars, whenever you have that smart trip card and you have a PCA, it's really important that you tag the same target and that you tag one right after the other. Okay.
okay, thank you so much. All right, so now I'm gonna switch it over to Andrew.
Thank you. Would it be okay for me to share my screen? Because I was apologizing earlier because the version of the slides I was able to send out, I had to remove many of the pictures because the slides were just too big. So my version's got a lot of pretty pictures, but so is it okay for me to
Yes, of course.
Okay, great. All right, does everybody see a picture of a young lady on a scooter getting on a bus?
Yes, we do.
Great. Okay. So my name is Andrew Shaw, and I've been travel training in various capacities. If you count an internship, for probably about 14 years. Um, and I'm here to talk to you about the Independent Center's travel training program. One quick thing is we work very closely with Metro as our travel training program is funded by a contract with Metro. So we do have a close working relationship with Journey and other folks at the Transit Accessibility Center. So just a little bit about the Independent Center. We are what's known as the Center of Independent Living. We're based in Northern Virginia. Traditionally, we only serve Northern Virginia, but with our contract with Metro, we now do travel training throughout the entire DC metro area. We're a nonprofit organization that is run by and for people with disabilities, and I include myself in that. I include myself as a disabled person. And our primary mission is to empower people with disabilities to live as independently as possible. Um, there are 400 centers of independent living. There's actually more than 400 across the entire country. All of the centers of independent living have the same 5 core services. So in Montgomery County, it's called Independence Now, and I have their contact information. I'm always happy to share it. But every center of independent living provides information and referral, peer counseling, advocacy, and independent living skills training, as well as transition for high school age students, as well as for people who want to transition out of nursing homes. So every center of independent living, including Independence Now, which traditionally serves Montgomery County, provides this service. Now I have travel training highlighted. That's basically an independent living skills training that, again, we Metro contracts with us to provide that service. So just really quick, and Janae covered a lot of this information already, or at least some of it. So some of the information I may just breeze past, and it's because it's already been covered very well in this presentation. But in short, travel training is a service that helps individuals with disabilities learn how to travel safely and independently using public transportation in the DC metro area. It can be one day, but usually for individuals, it's multiple sessions. It depends on the individual. Some people, they really just need to be shown one time how to get somewhere. Maybe they just want an orientation or shown to do one thing, and that's it. But most people, we do a couple of sessions to make sure that you are feeling comfortable and safe on the route and the goal that you have selected within the DC metro area. And it is also sponsored by Metro, as I mentioned earlier. So the good news with this program is there's not any one reason to do travel training. So for example, if you want to, I helped a young man in Centerville a couple months ago. He wanted to learn to get to his girlfriend's house, and quite frankly, mom was tired of driving him. So that was kind of a win-win for everybody in the household. He had the independence to be able to independently travel to his significant other's house, and mom didn't have to do that drive anymore, taking time out of her day. And plus he got to just do it independently. Um, we can teach people also how to get to a job. We travel train a lot of people who come to us because, a job placement has been selected or school or college has been, decided. So really, the bottom line is there isn't one particular reason for travel training. The goal is really up to you. And sometimes we meet people and, for travel training, they don't have a goal, and that's also okay. My background is in a therapeutic recreation. So if I meet you because you want to learn to ride the metro system, but you tell me, well, I don't really know where I want to go. Great. First questions I'm going to ask are, what do you do for fun? What are your hobbies? Where would you like to be able to go? Or maybe mom's always taking you, or someone else is always taking you. We can provide that training. Or maybe Metro Access is taking you, and for whatever reason you want to give the bus and Metro a try, as Janae was alluding to. So we can do that as well. So the bottom line is anybody with a disability can sign up, as well as anybody over the age of 65. If you're under 18 years old, you will need a parent or guardian's permission, or if the person is under guardianship, the guardian would have to sign off. We provide the service again in Montgomery and Prince George's County, throughout Northern Virginia and Washington, D.C. And like I was mentioning earlier, where can you go? It really is up to the student. We've even travel trained a couple people who, lived in Montgomery or lived out in the uncovered areas of, say, Northern Virginia, where we actually learned to take the VRE because that was the only option to connect to Metro. So we've been flexible with our ability to travel train people who might have a challenge connecting to a bus or Metro. Because we do know that sometimes there are certain areas not covered by bus, but we still say, maybe there's like a non-bus, non-metro, but like MARC is there. So we have travel trained a select number of individuals how to access the MARC or the VRE in Virginia to, which the VRE, by the way, is the Virginia Railway Express for those who don't know. Just how to use that system so that they could connect to the metro system and get where they needed to go. My next few slides are about metro access and reduced fare. I'm going to basically skip over those because Janae did an amazing job explaining those. So I'm just skipping over these slides really quick because her information was spot on, much more thorough than mine. So go ahead. Yes.
We're changing interpreters now.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I will wait.
All right, we're good.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about how to sign up for travel training in a few moments, but let's say you sign up, what does that actually look like? Our first step is we do an intake and an assessment. We have an assessment that basically goes over where we're at when we meet you in regard to your journey being able to take public transit. If you've never been on a bus before, that's fine. If you've been riding for years and maybe you just want to learn something new, because I'll give you an example. The Silver Line opened and a lot of people wanted to explore out there, but they wanted some support because maybe they were nervous about what it's like out, near Dulles Airport or Ashburn. So regardless of where you're at and your experience level, we are happy to meet you where you're at. And it's very individualized and designed around the person and where you're at. We also provide instruction on how to plan a trip. Sometimes when we do the intake and assessment, we'll immediately say, hey, if you got some time, what device do you have available to you? Do you have a smartphone? Do you have a computer? These are not required, but many people we know have these devices available, and we will use those devices and maybe do a couple of trip planning exercises. WMATA has a really good, easy to use trip planner. Google Maps is another one, I would say more for advanced users, but the nice thing is you can play with either of these websites at your leisure whenever you would like. We also go over, some accessibility things. Let's say you use a wheelchair or a scooter, or maybe you even use a bicycle. We go over, kind of setting, what it looks like to get on the bus. There was one young lady I worked with where she uses a scooter. She had never been on a bus before, needed a bus to access Metro. And I took the measurements of the floor of the bus that I found online, and we actually she put we worked together to put electrical tape on her carpet so that we could simulate like, hey, if you cross this line with your scooter, you've basically hit a wall, so that she could practice on her own. That was just something that this particular individual wanted, but it was a really cool experience to kind of simulate that so she could practice in our house. And then the first time we did travel train together, she got on the bus, no problem. And we had even accounted for where the fare box is just so that she could practice getting in and out because she was like, I want to do it right the first time. So we had designed it on her like the schematic of the interior of the bus on her floor just so that she had a place where she could practice at her leisure. So those are some of the creative things we do. Again, it's very individualized. The other travel skills we do is, as I was alluding to, we try to see what is available to you where you're at. The unfortunate reality is we can't make a bus show up where a bus route doesn't exist. But for example, there was somebody who lived out in Montgomery where we did take the MARC, so that they could then access the Metro at Shady Grove. And so we went over all of those skills, including how to purchase the ticket on your phone for the MARC, how to use the Smart Trip card to get on the Metro, how to ultimately get where they were going, and the return trip. We do go over reading maps and schedules. Again, we try to use the devices that you have available to you at home. So again, we will ask, do you have a smartphone? Do you have a computer? But if you don't, we are happy to bring paper schedules. And a lot of the times for the buses, I like to get the paper schedules in advance because sometimes I found like Google Maps sometimes isn't up to date, whereas the physical map is up to date because maybe the routes just changed, which does happen pretty regularly within our the DC metro area. We go over how to properly purchase fare cards if that's how you're going to be traveling, or if you're using reduced fare, or even if you're using Metro Access with a PCA card. We go over how to load monies on those because the PCA card, as Janae mentioned, it does have a balance on it. And the intention is sometimes, your aide may go home and they use that Smart Trip card to go home. But if they're not riding with the Metro Access card's holder, that card is basically acts like a regular fare card. So we go over all of that, how to load up a fare card. We go over how to identify the correct bus. As we know, sometimes bus stops can be a little confusing. You might have 3 buses that go there, so we want to make sure you get on the right bus. How to identify, I'm sorry, how to board, ride, and properly get off the bus as well. And one of the cool things that we're able to do is some of my travel training team, including myself, are bicyclists. So if I worked with a person, who lived about 2 miles away from a metro station with no bus access. We actually learned how to safely ride our bikes, secure them, and then get on the metro. Likewise, you can also take your bike on the buses. Most buses can accommodate 2 bicycles. There are some in our system that can accommodate 3, but for the most part, I believe Metro Bus is 2, and most of the partner bus systems are 2. We also go over, again, that practice of how to get on if you use a mobility device and how to actually ride on your trip. And we go over things like, what is the etiquette? What do most people do when they're riding? How do what should you do to let the bus driver know how to get off? All of those are skills we go over. Again, I mentioned earlier the trip planning. I really recommend for anybody new to trip planning, you start with WMATA.com. In my opinion, it is the easiest to get into and use. Everything is clearly in front of you. I have an example here. It says trip planner at the top, and it's got a from to location. So you can use an actual address. The trip planner is pretty smart too. So if you say something like the White House, it knows what you're talking about, and it's going to default to 1600 Pennsylvania. So if you put in like a major location that's well known throughout the area, chances are the Metro Trip Planner might actually know that when you type it in. But you can just use the exact address as well if you have that. Like your house probably isn't a well-known location, so you would probably use your address. And you can also tell it how you want to travel. And you can add parameters such as you want to leave or what time, when you want to leave, what day. So you could plan a trip for, this weekend. And it's important to consider that if you're going to travel on a Saturday or Sunday, there are bus routes that exist during the week, Monday through Friday, non-holidays that don't necessarily exist on a Saturday or Sunday, as well as some of these bus routes may still exist, but they're on a much more reduced route. So you may have to plan extra time if, for example, you are going to travel on the weekend. So you want to make sure when you use this trip planner, you do account for what day you intend to travel. If it's a weekday, you can put down any old weekday, but also make sure it's not a holiday on this trip planner because it will account for holidays. I just put a small example here of what a trip itinerary can look like. It gives you pretty clear walking directions, and you can actually click a button, or if you're on your phone, you can press where it says walking details, and it'll give you a step-by-step like what to do. So you can print these out in advance and have them with you. Or if you're using your smartphone, you can read the directions as you go. And it gives you a pretty good walking map. And what's nice with a phone, at least, is you can zoom in and zoom out too. So if you're walking, it can give you some like live information as you're moving. And it gives you just a nice itinerary based on the parameters that you put into the trip schedule of what's going to happen. So some of the travel skills that we also go over is how to safely cross the street. And I will tell you that sometimes that is a skill that we start with is how do we cross the street to make sure that we're doing it safely, we're doing it smartly. And we know a lot of street crossings are different. We have controlled crosswalks where you hit a button and a signal changes. We have automated crosswalks where you wait your turn. And then we have uncontrolled crosswalks where there is no signal to cross and we have to make a judgment call as to when it's safe to cross. And we do go over those skills and we ask that, you practice these skills as well. If you're not able to do them independently, we ask that you practice with guidance as well as when we're working with you. We go over physical and social safety skills. I know a lot of parents talk to me about, the behaviors that maybe their son or daughter has, and we go over a lot of those skills: how to just keep yourself safe, how to not be the center of attention when you don't want to be, but also how to be the center of attention when you need to be. Like if something is happening and to you want people to know, but also sometimes we want to ride the bus and we just want to have an uneventful ride and get home. So we do go over, we're happy to troubleshoot scenarios with you. We've gone over, I can think of hundreds of scenarios, but we don't have the time right now, that we've gone over with families as to like what could happen and what ifs. One of the cool things that we'll do also is the unexpected situations. Sometimes we will simulate a missed bus. Um, that's the other nice thing is like, what do you do when a mistake happens and you're on a bus route? What are your options? What's your plan B? What's your plan C? For some people, it's okay. You cross the street, you get on the bus going back, and you don't miss your stop on the way back, or you just pay better attention. But sometimes, maybe we have to think of, other things like what's a safe place to go? Who do you call? So we do go over those steps as well as to what to do when things don't go according to plan, because sometimes we know they don't. Everybody who's ever ridden a bus or rides regularly, myself included, has missed their bus stop at least once. So, we go over the what happens when that occurrence takes place. We also go over just emergency scenarios. Again, we're happy to troubleshoot. We're happy to take those, what if this happens? What if that happens? I've heard what happens if an asteroid hits? That's one maybe I don't quite have the answer for, but most situations with the bus, there is a good what if scenario that we can kind of troubleshoot. And we work with people until they feel confident and proficient in their traveling. So if you sign up for travel training, the responsibilities of the trainee are primarily to be, make the appointments that you set. And we understand life happens. We understand sometimes you got to cancel, sometimes, just things happen. We get it. But we also just ask that you communicate with us when that happens so that, because we might have a lot of people waiting that maybe could take that time slot. The other nice thing is, related to that is we just want to make sure that people are able to be communicated with. So we ask that you have an email or you have a phone or you have a designated person that we can get in touch with. I'm really big on sending out confirmations like a couple days before and the day before, just to be like, hey, we're still on for 3 o'clock tomorrow. And I might even check the weather. Oh, it's going to be snowing. How are you feel? How are you feeling? I don't want anybody to do something they don't feel safe doing. So, I like to look at the weather. I like to ask people, hey, if you're going to start traveling, please, please, please pay attention to the weather, especially when you're getting on a bus. And that's another thing, is just making sure we're dressing appropriately for the circumstances that will be outside, and making sure you're bringing with you the things you need, like your medications and your whatever it is you need to be okay on this trip for the time that will be on the trip. I ask that you have with you. You can bring backpacks, you can bring fanny packs. I've seen those are coming back. A lot of people wear them now. So, I know they weren't cool when I was young. For some reason, fanny packs are a thing now. So, yeah, we just ask that you bring whatever it is you need to be okay. And we ask that you practice within your comfort level. If you feel like it's safe to get on the bus and go 2 stops to the grocery store independently, even though we might be working on a goal that's further out, go for it. Because the more you normalize taking the bus and metro, the easier it will become over time. And the more comfortable you get with, sometimes there's weird scenarios that do happen on the bus, but most of the time they don't involve you. So it normalizes riding the bus, and that's what we want to promote. So how do you sign up? I'm putting my direct work number right here, so you can call me, you can text me, you can say, hey, my name is Bob, I want to sign up for travel training, and we can take it from there. You can also send me an email, and my email address is here. You can also email ECNV's info line, which is info@ecnv.org, or call 703-525-3268 and ask for Andrew, or you could just ask to speak to a travel trainer. Travel training is 100% free. I want to make that clear. The travel training is free, and the fares that you would spend on that trip when we're training together is also absolutely free to you. We do also sometimes work with aides as well. We just would like to know in advance that an aide is coming along, so we can make whatever arrangements we need to make to ensure their ride is covered as well. For the initial intake meeting, it's up. Usually we come out to you. We can use ECMV's office, but I'm going to tell you our office is in Crystal City, and I imagine a lot of people are going to want to go there, and that is perfectly fine. So we're happy to meet you at home, but even if you're not comfortable at home for whatever reason, we meet people at the library, or we meet people at even Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks or whatever works for you. I've met people at a Popeyes and had lunch while we were doing the travel training assessment and just answering questions and setting goals. That's pretty much it for my presentation. So I'm happy to field any questions.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions?
Ooh, there is one thing I want to talk about that Janae brought up. Somebody mentioned having the blue Metro Access card and wanting to be converted to the free ride. And Janae mentioned doing travel training. So yes, doing travel training, we're happy to do what's called a field assessment. That is where after travel training, you show the travel trainer you worked with that you can do the route independently. So that is the field assessment. So if you've got somebody, maybe you've got like somebody mentioned they had clients, if they know how, if they can demonstrate already that they can ride the bus and metro, please contact us and we can make arrangements to do a field assessment where they just need to show us. We pick a time. It could be a route of their choosing. They just need to show us that they can do it basically with no help from us. That's really what we need to see.
Okay, great. And so our first question is, if you live in MoCo, you sign up at Independence Now?
Good question. So no, you can call ECNV to sign up, but ECNV provides other services to Northern Virginians. And you might look at ECNV's website and see these like independent living skills that we also offer. Independence Now offers those same peer counseling, the same independent living skills. So if it's not travel training related, and this is a great question, we would refer you to Independence Now for anything not related to travel training. I hope that clarifies it. So no, to sign up for travel training, you can call me or call the Independence Center. Yes, Janae says you can also contact travel training at wamata.com. Again, our program is funded by Metro, so sometimes Metro sends us the referral.
Okay, great. And then I just wanted to clarify that Metro Access is not free, but no trip would exceed $450 max each way. Okay, I just wanted to clarify that for some of our families. Yes, Janelle, let me unmute you. Oh, hold on one second. I just have to unmute you. You might have to.
I'm sorry. Another thing that he was talking about the Metro website, it's not an app, but if you have a smartphone, you can actually put, I have an iPhone for work and I also have a Samsung Android. But if you can see here, you see the M there? See that? You can add this to your home page. So when you add that to your home page, you automatically get this to start up for you. So it's not an app, it's actually the website, but you can add it to your home page. Okay.
Yeah, we have a lot of people bookmark it that we work with. Like we'll actually be standing at the bus stop waiting for the bus and we'll say, hey, let's bookmark wamata.com so you can easily access it whenever you need to. But that's a good way too.
Yeah.
Okay, so to clarify, it's not something that you get on the Apple Store, but something that you would actually bookmark from the website.
Right.
Correct. Wamata.com is you open up a browser and you type it in or you can bookmark it. Yes.
Another
Okay.
thing about the cards that I didn't mention, it does not go on the phone platform. The only ones that go on the phone platform is the senior smart chip card, but the reduced fare and the Metro Access cards do not go on the phone platform. Okay, I also put a couple little things on the side. For instance, the VRE.org, they do have a discount program, but it has to be signed by a medical professional. The Mark Train and the reduced fare, you can link it together to get a reduced fare. And it was something else. I told you about the app. And Those are the only two I can think of right now that I had wrote on the note side on the
Okay.
chat box.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much. So we have a question. We've had some trouble in the past with cabs coming through Abilities Ride and being confused about how to find out what cab company we should be looking for or when the cab will arrive. Will the Where is my ride services call text still be able to provide this information even if a cab or Uber is coming instead of a Metro Access vehicle?
Yes. And also, if you have Uber, you should be able to follow it on your Uber account too, whether that service is coming, when it's coming. And remember, I told you I wasn't sure about that other program that was in the Metro Access box. I believe that's actually a ARC device. You can get a device that's not travel training, but they have a device that will give you step-by-step directions. So even if you travel train, it still gives you step-by-step directions. um, it doesn't eliminate travel training, but it is part of an assistant program. It gives you step-by-step directions on how to get from point A to point B. So it's useful. So after you finish your travel training, you can also have this, but you have to contact the ARC.
Yes, we actually have a good relationship with the Arc of Northern Virginia. They also will serve the entire DC metro area with their app. I do know that the Arc is training the Arc of Montgomery also on the app. So eventually the Arc of Montgomery for Montgomery County might take over that. But actually the Arc of Northern Virginia, we've referred Montgomery County residents and they've, with me or with a member of my team designed a step-by-step, like step one, go to the bus stop, step two, and they'll break it down as much as you want. We've had entire lessons built for just how to cross the street safely, because some people, that's where we were starting.
Oh, that's great. Does anyone have any additional questions? All right, well, when I'm talking, so like I said, I'm going to send out all of the slides, the PowerPoints. As Andrew said, the PowerPoint that I would be sending from him will not have pictures, but will have all of the information that he discussed. I know that there is a lot of information, but feel free to contact either Janae or Andrew if you have any questions. Last thing, is there anybody before we wrap up the program? Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Janae and Andrew, for your fantastic and informative presentation. So just a reminder, I will be sending out copies of all the PowerPoints to all attendees. Looking ahead, our virtual transition times and tips meeting will be held once a month from now until June. All meetings will continue to be offered with simultaneous ASL in Spanish and archived on the PCR website. The next meeting will be Adult Services Night, MCPS and Transition Times Fall TY Fair in person on Wednesday, October 23rd at 6:30 to 8:30 at Richard Montgomery High School. There will be 25 agencies, provider agencies that will be in attendance. And so please mark this on your calendar. And we also have a flyer that we will be sharing with everyone that has all of the dates of all of the programs that we have coming up. Okay, thank you so much. And we'll see you next month. Thank you again, Andrew and Janae.